Last week, I posted a video on some of the things to consider before buying a piece of land. A gentleman saw the video and sent me an email, and the subject of the email was, "I'm in a mess. Please help me." So I sent him an email back and sent him my contact information. He called me and we had a conversation. After listening to his side of the story, I realized that it was tied or it's related to another thing that had happened a few months ago. Now, these two people are not related, they've never met each other, but the two stories give me enough information to issue out warnings to anyone looking to get into transactions like these without following the proper channels. A few months ago, a lady called me. She said she lives in Alabama, but she owns a piece of land here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So she was calling to see if I could help her evaluate the property and sell it for her. So I collected all the information I needed to collect from her. Then, while I was doing my research on the property, trying to get the best value for the property, I found out that there is a lien on the property. Now, a lien is a hold. A lien just means there is a hold on the property. And the hold can be because of several things. For the most part, it's because there is a debt that needs to be paid on that said property before you can do whatever you want to do on that property. So I called the lady up and told her there is a lien on her property, and she agreed. She said there is a lien on the property. She knows that. And she established that it's because she had not paid her property taxes for a few months. So I asked her, what do you want to do? Do you want to take care of those taxes? Or do you want to take care of that debt before we list the property? Or should we just disclose to the potential buyers that there is a lien on the property, tell them how much the debt is for, then maybe reduce the price a little bit to give them an incentive to buy the land, then eventually pay off the debt and own the property? But the lady was displeased with my suggestion. So she asked me if we could just list the property without disclosing that there is a lien on the property. I told her that it's unethical. I don't think I would like to do that. I think it's best to just disclose it to anyone who wants to buy the property so they know what they are getting themselves into. If they have the money to pay the debt off, they can go ahead and pay it off. So she eventually said she's on the other line, somebody's calling her, she'll call me back. And this is a few months ago. Since then, I've been trying to reach her and crickets, nothing. I've not heard from her again, even till today. Now, back to the gentleman I was just talking about who called me last week. So, what happened with him is he's found a piece of land here in the Dallas Fort Worth area as well. He found a piece of land. The piece of land was cheap. He decided to go for it. He decided to go buy it. But he bought it directly from the owner. He bought the land from the owner. He did not hire a title company. He did not hire a lawyer. He did everything cash with the owner of the land. So he did not do his due diligence. The owner got an attorney to do a deed agreement. They both signed it and he wired the money to the owner. Now the owner has gone. He has the deed of the land. Then, few weeks later, he found out there is a debt owed on that property. That original owner had not paid taxes for several months. He would have to pay that debt, or the county will have to seize that piece of land because there is a debt on it. So now he is in a big mess and he's looking for someone to help him out. Now, these two cases are not the same. The owner here is not the same lady I was referring to in the first story. I'm not saying this lady actually moved forward and sold this land without disclosing that there was a lien on the property. But what if she did? What if she ignored me and moved to another real estate expert who agreed to put this land in the market without disclosing that there was a lien or there's a debt owed on that same property? Someone else would have bought that same piece of land and end up in the same mess as the gentleman who called me last week. Both stories give me enough information to issue out a warning to anyone who is looking to get into transactions like these without going through the proper channels. I looked into the gentleman's case and I found out there are certain things he did not do. He made a big mistake. Number one, he did not hire a title company. He wanted to save a few bucks, but now he is liable for a debt he did not owe. Because he did not hire a title company, there was no title search. So every time you buy a piece of property, there has to be a title search. A title search will help you find out if there are any disputes, if there are any liens on the property, if there are any uncertain owners of a property, or maybe family members are fighting over a certain property. All this stuff will be disclosed if you do a title search. This will help you avoid issues like what this gentleman is going through right now. Now, if he had hired a title company to help him with this transaction, they probably would have helped him get a title policy or a title insurance policy that would protect him from any claims and any liens or anything that would stop him from using the land the way he wants to use them. He did not do these things because he was trying to save a few bucks. And now, for trying to save a few dollars, he ended up with $18,000 in debt that he did not know about, that he had no idea that was attached to that piece of land. The second thing everybody needs to do before you purchase a piece of land, or when you're looking to purchase a piece of land, you have to order a survey. A survey gives you the exact map, the exact boundary map of the piece of property. It gives you the dimensions of the property in exact form so that there is no conflict, there are no disputes between you and whoever owns the neighboring properties in the area. And it also helps you with zoning and building planning. So you might end up ordering the survey by yourself and pay for it, or you can ask the original owner of the property if they have a survey that was given to them when the land was bought in the first place. If they don't have a survey, then you go ahead and order a survey that will show the dimensions of the property so that you have no disputes and no problems in the future. Another thing to look out for before going into transactions like these, especially when it comes to land, is to find out if you will be able to get permits required to develop the land the way you want to develop it. There are certain situations where you might buy a piece of land and the land is located in an area where the city itself does not want a certain kind of business there, or the residents themselves have petitioned that they don't want a certain kind of business there, but that's your business idea. So you go there, you would get into conflict with the people who actually live there, and the city would probably side with the people who live in the area and not give you the permit to develop the land and do what you want to do with that piece of land. Now you're stuck with a piece of land that you can either sell, or you might have to come up with another idea on what to do with that piece of land. If not, it just becomes a waste. Another thing to look out for is homeowners association. If you go and buy a land that is in an area where there is a homeowners association, then you might be restricted from some of the things you want to do with the property. So these are the things you have to look out for, and you have to do your due diligence to find out if all these things are in place before you go ahead and buy your piece of land. Now, after having a conversation with this gentleman, I am not a lawyer, so I told him to talk to a lawyer to seek legal advice. So he called me back and said he spoke to a lawyer, and they advised him that the only thing he can do is pay off the debt. And the debt on that property is $18,000. He bought the property for $50,000, but there is a debt on the property for $18,000. So now he has to either pay the debt and keep the land, or he has to find a way to relinquish the land by selling it to someone else who will be willing to buy a piece of land with $18,000 debt on it. So these are things that he should have looked into if he had followed the proper channels, instead of saving a few bucks by not hiring a real estate consultant or a title company to help him with transactions like these. And now he's in a big mess. That being said, these cases prompted me to create several checklists. So I've created several checklists, from the checklists on the things you need to know before you buy a piece of land, the checklists on everything you need to have or the things you need to know if you're a first-time home buyer, the checklists on things you need to know or the things you need to have before selling your home. If you look at the description, you will see my email attached to it. Feel free to send me an email and tell me what your situation is. If you want a checklist on the things you need to know to buy a piece of land, or if you're trying to sell a house, or if you're trying to buy a house, whatever it is you need, feel free to send me an email and I'll go ahead and provide the necessary documents you need for free. Thank you.